Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today, wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And I gotta start with this from Eleanor Tourette. Take a listen.
We're at an inflection point. Yeah. Why do you say that? What are you seeing?
I mean, frankly, crypto has been for crypto for a long time, crypto native people. And there's a lot happening on chain. Sure, there are a lot of users, according to Coinbase, but they're more investors. They hold Bitcoin. They hold alternatives like Avalanche's token. What's happening now is the hope that regulation and stablecoins being the first one, and then market structure bill,
right,
that will allow traditional financial institutions as well as Web 2 enterprises to actually feel comfortable in using the technology and actually explore benefits of the blockchain.
They want to come into this space because whoever gets here first with these institutions, they're going to get the upper hand on all of their competition. You were lucky enough to beat the institutions here, but now time is running out. Remember in 2000 when they said the internet was just a fad? Well, we are at the stage and beyond with crypto. We are past that now, but there's so many people outside of crypto that still think that crypto is just one day gonna disappear. It is getting integrated into everything right now. The digital shift is already happening, and most people don't even realize it's happening. You know, if it's not announced on the mainstream media news, most people just don't get it. Tokenize gold and silver. Yes, why not on the XRP ledger? Take a listen to this. This is what I've been telling you. They are going to tokenize gold and silver prices are going to change very fast.
In fact, one thing I want people to be thinking about is coming up in this next week is the stablecoin law that's coming out. Right. Now, what's interesting is that the stablecoins are actually a way to buy long-term treasuries because they're buying the 10-year. And like USDC, USDT, that's a 10-year. But now what the stablecoin legislation is going to do is going to allow gold and silver to now be a part of a stablecoin. I believe that's a catalyst to see gold and silver launch up to new record highs right now. And so I'm pretty excited about that.
Okay. They are going to back stable coins with gold and silver. We are going back to a gold-backed system. And what the U.S. is going to do is they're going to tokenize the gold and back the digital dollar with gold. That's the direction we're heading in. But the digital dollar will still need a bridge like XRP. Aon has partnered with Ripple and will now use XRP and RLUSD on their Web3 mobile payment platform. Users can pay via Telegram app for purchases at common retail brands, initially with 20 million merchants in Southeast Asia, so in Africa and LATAM. This is big as well. Again, they're making it so that people can actually buy things with stable coins and crypto. And take notice, they mention McDonald's, Pizza Hut, and Starbucks. But it's going to be so much bigger. You're going to be going to the car dealership in the future and paying with XRP. Everything that you want to buy in the future will be able to be bought with crypto. And most people will be using crypto on a daily basis and not even know that it's happening. Everything is happening at a very accelerated rate right now. BlackRock, head of digital assets, says the quiet part out loud. This comes from Digital Asset Investor. If I've learned anything about Ripple in the last 7 years, is that most don't leave, they're deployed. If you think Robbie missed the part about XRP being created by Bitcoin developers to be a better Bitcoin, you would be the perfect buyer of my igloo in South Georgia. I see what he's saying, because over the years, most of the people that started at Ripple, they ended up at some big corporation, like BlackRock, or they ended up at some big financial institution. But take a listen to what Robbie Mitchnick says here.
Yeah, sure. Well, it has been an interesting journey. I'm from Toronto, as you alluded to. Did undergrad up there at Queen's, and when I started my career, which was also in Toronto, I was at CPP Investment Board doing initially public markets and then private credit. And it was only when I went to business school, I did business school down in the U.S., that I ended up working for a company called Ripple, which this is the summer of 2017. And that turned out to be a pretty fortuitous time to be entering the space. It was what we now call the third crypto cycle, the third bull market, or crypto's now had 5 boom and bust cycles. That sort of launched my pivot into this digital assets arena, because obviously the technology and opportunity was too exciting to pass up as a go forward opportunity path. And BlackRock at that time was just beginning to explore the space, and so I came in and was the first full-time employee in the whole blockchain digital assets domain. And early days was a lot more focused on kind of operational potential applications of blockchain. And then as the years have gone by, we get into sort of what propelled that transformation. We've started to become a significant player, obviously, within crypto itself.
I'm sure Robbie Mitchnick was one of the people at BlackRock urging and trying to fast track BlackRock into this space. But he got his start at Ripple. He even created this. So earlier, Joe Pendleton asked about the XRP price. Always wanted to ask Robbie Mitchnick why his XRP unbanked price calculator had a default setting of $1,632. You see it right here. He created the XRP price calculator. And now he's the head of digital assets at BlackRock. Do you honestly think that happened by coincidence? I'm sure BlackRock is under NDA. I think once the Rippleverse SEC case is done and over with, I think we're going to get that announcement that BlackRock has been working with Ripple. They got into this space. It wasn't for Bitcoin. They just seen a way to make a lot of money off of Bitcoin. They're here for the tokenization. They want to make sure that they capitalize on tokenization. It is going to be such a massive market. And a lot of people are now speculating that once BlackRock announces an XRP ETF, that's when everything will get the go-ahead. Let's see what happens from here. It's 2030. XRP doesn't just move money, it moves everything. Hospital bills, tokenized homes, global trade, all seamless, all instant. This is the quiet revolution nobody saw coming. This comes from XRP Healthcare. I like what they say here. You wake up, your hospital bill is auto-paid through XRP Healthcare in seconds. A friend in Brazil sends you an XRP-backed gift instantly. Real estate shares are tokenized, traded, and settled. No banks, no delays. You might not see it in the headlines, but behind the scenes, your everyday transactions now flow on the XRP ledger, the invisible backbone of a stealth revolution in global finance. And you see, they talk about the 5-year trajectory from 2025 to 2030. But everything is going to happen before 2030. You know, if that was the case, people would not invest in XRP at all. They would just wait until 2030 or 2029, buy up XRP, and then watch it skyrocket in 2030. XRP by 2027 is going to price most people out. Most people are going to be buying maybe 5 or 10 XRP then, because the price is going to be in the 3 digits by 2027. You could see how it's accelerating now. And there's a good chance by 2027, the flip of the switch will have already happened. The banks go live on the private ledger, and the price of XRP skyrockets like an overnight event. It could happen even sooner with ISO messaging now crypto being used inside of ISO messaging. But there's so many other catalysts that are going to send XRP. And the utility, the demand, and the scarcity of this asset is going to happen so quick, people are not even going to realize that it happened that fast. Because right now, everybody's like, 100 billion XRP is way too many XRP. But how do you know that? This is a cryptocurrency that's built to serve every single person on the planet. This comes from Uphold. Amazon and Walmart are going full DeFi by launching their own stablecoins. These retail giants plan to bypass $143 billion in fees, control their own rails, settle instantly on-chain, cut out banks and middlemen. This isn't just innovation. It's a direct challenge to TradFi. The problem with their stablecoin is they're still gonna need a bridge. Everything needs a bridge. Because say you have Amazon coin. Well, Walmart's not gonna accept Amazon coin. So you need to go from Amazon coin to something like XRP, come out on the other end as Walmart coin. No matter how you look at this, XRP emerges as the world's bridge currency. New U.S. banking cartel forming as JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, and others dominate American deposits, warns big short investor Steve Eisman. I've been telling you this was happening behind the scenes for a long time now. What is happening is everything's shifting to a handful of big banks. So if we do nothing and we keep the current policies and there's no M&A wave, what's going to happen is JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, and a handful of others will continue to take market share. The other regional banks are going to wither on the vine. And what you'll have left is a couple of very, very large banks and some community banks. And that's been happening for a period of time now. But I think it's all part of the digital push. In other words, if you want to take and create a digital dollar and you want to connect the banks to that digital dollar, it's going to be hard to connect thousands of banks to it. It's easier to connect just a handful of banks to the digital dollar. This was all part of Agenda 2030 to begin with, but nobody really talked about it. Everybody was distracted, and it kept happening time and time again. JP Morgan is massive now. Wells Fargo is as well. Look at Goldman Sachs. And these banks, they're just going to keep getting stronger. And we still are going to see other banks collapse over time. Japaniz crypto ETFs, 20% tax on regulatory overhaul. So they want to set capital gains at 20%. And they also want to start ETFs. Japan is going to go very big on XRP. I'm sure they'll create an XRP ETF as well. But everything that's happening right now in the real world is all part of what we knew was coming for years. The digital transition has been happening over a period of time. Some people seen it. Other people ignored it, and some people had no clue it was happening at all. But in the crypto space, a lot of people chose to ignore it, and I think they're going to end up figuring it out once it's too late. You know, there's still people in this space that only invest in meme coins. Think about that. And sometimes they win, and most of the times they lose. Then you have Bitcoin maxis who just can't see past Bitcoin. But even a lot of them are starting to shift their money now because they're starting to realize that as this continues to happen, as this digital shift is happening in real time, it's leaving Bitcoin in the past and it's pushing it even more into the past because technology doesn't stop advancing. And Bitcoin is just outdated tech. You could build hype around it. You could build a belief system around it, but it's not going to change what's coming. Bitcoin's future is as a tokenized asset running on the XRP ledger and nothing more. But you know, as XRP investors, we are going to get financial freedom as this happens. You could already see it coming now. The finish line is in sight. But until it does happen, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.